How do you create abundance in your life? I go by the Fit Economist. 20 years of school, my journey from Madagascar to America has allowed me to meet people from all corners of the world and walks of life. I've gone from unemployed over a year facing deportation to now a 15-year career in economics, an ex-Wall Streeter, building generational wealth through investing and learning the power of taking ownership of my life. In this video, I want to talk to you about these two things. One, the power of perception, and two, the power of expression. We do not take time to actually develop the skill of perception. We accept a lot of things out there as truths, first of all. Secondly, we allow our ego to stand in the way of us actually being present and listening to our environment. We don't even listen to our own thoughts. We don't even listen to our own emotions. We waste all this energy, this abundance of ideas, of opportunities that are circulating around us all the time. What if I told you that the thought you had, the emotions you have so much packed information about your insecurities, about yourself, about what you could do to take your current situation into the greatest transformation of your life? What if I told you that your thoughts and emotions had so much packed information about why it is that you are where you are, what you can tweak, what you can learn, what you can adjust? And that is one of the biggest things that has changed my life, is to actually understand that the current situation I was in had to do, first and foremost, with something that had nothing to do with what I was going out there and expressing myself in the world with. And first had to do with my perception of the world. And that started with the perception of others. I didn't realize, one, that I was putting people on a pedestal. And by nature, I put so much importance onto certain things, and I thought that certain things were unattainable. But also, I allowed my ego to stand in the way of things. And every time somebody would tell me something, I would say, I know, I already know that. When my parents would tell me to do X, Y, Z, I would say, I already did that. The moment I literally humbled myself and adopted the framework of having a student mindset, I started looking at everything in my life as a lesson, as a message. And that's why now I literally look at failure as the greatest opportunity of my life. A failure at its core, what is it? It is a message. It means that whatever it is going on right now, what is it that I can learn about the world, about people, about what is going on right now with the latest dynamics that are going on in my industry? What can I learn about myself? What can I learn about my emotions, my ability to be rooted? What can I learn about what it is that aligns with me? When someone goes out there and says something and it moves you, upsets you, instead of being focused on that negative energy, I literally changed everything when I developed this trigger mechanism, which is a skill, to immediately focus on, oh, why do I feel that way? That is a great opportunity to learn about myself, to develop myself, to connect with myself. Just that framework changed everything for me. And then the books that I started reading gave me different perspectives through which I could see the world. And so now I took this perception skill to the whole different level. One book that I've read recently, for instance, which is the book 10x is easier than 2x, talks about the concept of the gap or the gain. You're focused on looking at your journey from where you started to where you are now, seeing how much you've grown through that process, instead of looking at the difference between where you are and where you want to go. But also the book, The Power of Now, has changed the way I see the world. To understand that the present is the gift. To understand that I actually was not engaged in my own life. And I was so focused on what I could be that I never actually appreciated who I was in the moment and invested in who I was in the moment and focused on the step that was right in front of me that I could control. I was living a lie by myself, allowing my emotions to control me instead of detaching myself from reality and getting to know myself as if I was my own best friend. Develop your skill of perception, the skill that no one will ever see but you. Then you'll see how everything in your life will change. If you've noticed the difference between intuition and perception, it has to do with your ability to contradict things that before you thought were truths. And that can only be done by lowering your judgment, lowering your ego, to understand that there's so much to learn out there, so much to discover, and to understand that you're not perfect. That is extremely important. If your expectation of yourself is that you're perfect, everything you'll do in your life will be based on defending this idea because you want to make it seem that you are perfect. But when you understand that there are so much things that you want to learn, improve, discover, explore, experience, your energy now comes from a place of security instead of a place of insecurity because you've accepted yourself as is. And that is the most underrated part of growth, is to accept your current situation, not from a place of shame, but to turn what could be shame into power through the power of acceptance, which is the power of perception. Change your perception by changing the relationship of how you see the world and how you view yourself. Don't rely on possessions, on religion, on any other thing to develop this perception of the world. All those things are complements, but they cannot replace that lens through which you see yourself as is, away from everything else. Because that will develop the real, true, authentic connection that only you have. Change your life through the power of perception. Secondly, the power of expression. One of the greatest frameworks that has changed my life on expression is be, do, have. We tend to express ourselves out there by waiting on what we can have. We need to have the camera. We need to have the support. We need to have money. When we have this, we'll be able to do that, and then we'll be that. When we have this amount of support, this amount of interest, this amount of knowledge, we'll be able to do this, and then we'll be rich. It's the opposite. Be, do, have. Develop a presence about you by appreciating yourself. And that's where perception establishes that presence. Allow everything around you to actually be channeled through you by first being present in your situation, learning, observing, listening, lowering the barriers that are stopping you from becoming present, taking care of your body, letting go and removing the things that are not working for you, and making room for yourself to become a flow of ideas, of expression. And the way you express yourself is also a skill. That is the skill through which frameworks can be applied, and that can take you into disciplines, into consistency. But when you change your idea of what discipline and consistency is as the outcome, and your input, which is your ability to become present in your life and to align with what it is that you want, and focus on doing the things doing the things, you actually allow yourself to fall in love with the process. And by nature, you'll become more consistent, you'll become more disciplined, because you're focusing on your identity. You're focusing on becoming present, and you're focusing on connecting with yourself and why you need to do what you're doing. That is how you become the most productive you can ever be, the most creative you can ever be. Not by having productivity tools left and right that you don't connect with. Those will be great to show off, but they will not last over the long run. Only one thing can last over the long run, and that is the ability for you to connect with yourself, to be, to embody that into your actions. Be for the sake of being, do for the sake of doing. That way, it doesn't matter what anybody does and what anybody says. You're good with it because it is who you are. That is how you change your life. And that is how you literally start to attract blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings. You are going to be the person that literally attracts money, attracts people, because you're focused on doing the things that that person does. As always, wherever you are, wherever you come from, you are destined for greatness. Get busy living, not busy dying. Love.